Welcome to the Fibromyalgia Podcast. I'm Tami Stacklehouse, fibromyalgia coach, author, and founder of the International Fibromyalgia Coaching Institute. The goal of this podcast is to empower you with access to the dream team of experts and coaches I've discovered are key to living the fibro life you love. From the comfort of your own home, and maybe even your pajamas, I'll help you take back control of your life and health. To help out with fibro fog, I always include full show notes and additional resources at fibromyalgiapodcast.com. Welcome to the Fibromyalgia Podcast. I'm your coach, Tami Stacklehouse, and this is episode 154. Today is our 10th Fibromyalgia Stories of Hope episode, and I'm sharing excerpts from our most recent graduation event held in February 2025. The portion of the event that I'm sharing with you today is the juicy bit. It's the interviews with our graduates. And if you would like to check out the full event, we will have that video in today's show notes. Just go to fibromyalgiapodcast.com/154 and you'll find the video at the bottom of the page. This class, these graduates that I'm sharing with you today, they have improved their fibromyalgia symptoms by an average of 63%, which is actually better than our regular average of about 50%. And all of these graduates ended with a revised fibromyalgia impact questionnaire score of 26 or less. Now, to give you an idea of how awesome that is, quote unquote, mild fibromyalgia is a score of 42 or less, and these ladies are nearly half of that. I've also been having conversations with some of the doctors that I know about what score would indicate that your fibromyalgia is in remission. Is that a 0 score or is it something else? And the number that's been thrown around is 25 or less. Now, I don't have a definitive answer. Please don't take that as a definitive answer. This is just something that we've been talking about and throwing around. But I think that discussion gives you a good framework for how well these women are doing. Now, I also always want to remind you that the information that you are going to hear in this episode is not meant to be considered medical advice, and it is not intended to replace consulting with a qualified physician or other healthcare provider. These graduates are also sharing their personal medical history, which means they are only sharing what they feel comfortable sharing publicly. So if you'd like to know more specifics from any of these ladies, please feel free to schedule a consultation with one of our certified fibromyalgia coaches or student coaches in training, and we can help you dig into that a little bit further. Now, let me introduce you to the graduates that you are about to meet. First, you will be hearing from Clara Garcia. After serving 17 years in the U.S. Army, Clara, a Gulf War veteran, was diagnosed with ME/CFS and fibromyalgia in 2017. Her challenging health journey inspired her to educate herself, earning a bachelor's degree in health and wellness and multiple certifications. Clara wishes to help women veterans reclaim their lives and discover their strength by helping them understand, navigate, and thrive with fibromyalgia and provide the support and resources that she once needed, guided by her motto, start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Clara is graduating for the second time from our Certified Fibromyalgia Advisor program because she is transitioning into our Certified Coach program. Clara will be available to work with new clients around May 2025. So depending on when you're hearing this, Clara may also be available either as a student or as a coach. Next, you'll meet Kim Osborne. When Kim reached out to me 2.5 years ago, she was miserable. She was low on hope, and she felt like a burden. Now, her world has opened back up again, and she is thriving. Before her fibromyalgia diagnosis, Kim was the founder of Hope for Savannah, a nonprofit that worked with families of children diagnosed with cancer. She is a wife, mom, and lolly to two beautiful granddaughters. Kim is also a certified health coach, yoga instructor, and owns a small wellness company called Turning North. Helping others has always been a priority for Kim, and coaching fibro clients helps to bring purpose to her life. Kim has just graduated as a certified fibromyalgia coach, and she is one of the coaches that you can schedule a consultation with through our Find a Coach page. You'll find that in today's show notes. And then lastly, you will meet Victoria Sukarev. Victoria holds degrees in management and psychology earned in Europe. Over a decade ago, she began experiencing fibromyalgia, leading her to explore healing through medicine, psychology, and faith. She discovered that self-love and self-care are key to living a fulfilling life. Now she helps highly sensitive women to embrace fibromyalgia with compassion, balance their lives, and prioritize well-being. She also supports individuals strengthening their spiritual and emotional resources. Happily married, Victoria sees fibromyalgia as a path to self-discovery and personal growth. Victoria is the only certified fibromyalgia coach working in the Russian language space, and she can be found on our Find a Coach page as well. If you'd like to schedule a consultation with any of these ladies or any of our other coaches, just go to today's show notes for the link. It's fibromyalgiapodcast.com/154. You can also just go to findafibrocoach.com. Now, enjoy my conversations with Clara, Kim, and Victoria. All right, let's take a few minutes to meet each of our graduates. Now, we are going to start with Clara. Clara, you are in Florida. Congratulations.
Thank you, Tami. I'm excited.
Yes. Now, this is actually Clara's second time graduating as an advisor, and she's going to be going on into our coach class starting next month. And so she took the advisor class again as sort of a refresher. And one of the things that you realized, I think in the first time through, wasn't it, that you were really focused on nutrition and exercise, but that really wasn't self-care?
Yeah, it was a realization after I started the class that everything that I was doing or that I thought was self-care really wasn't self-care for me because it ended up being like a to-do list, like a chore list, trying to fit in everything that I needed to do, whether it's meditation, exercise, whatever the case may be. I was trying to get all that done in the morning before doing anything else. And eventually I kind of got over it, got overwhelmed, and stopped doing it. But that was one of the first things that I learned is like, okay, I need to like hit the pause button. I think that's what I said last time, hit the pause button and kind of reassess that whole thing.
Yes. And, we have talked a lot about our fibromyalgia wellness styles, and that is like part of that for you. As a perfectionist, like that's what you do. You go through and you
I love
check
checklists.
off the list.
Yeah.
Exactly. So what does self-care look like for you now, today?
Oh, it's being intentional in every action that I take. If I'm going to rest because I'm feeling tired or I don't want to overdo it, it's not sitting in front of the TV in the sofa because that's really not resting, not providing rest for my body to recuperate. So now it's like I go up to my bed, put some meditation or guided meditation, let my body try to relax. If I fall asleep, good, I fall asleep. If I don't, I'm just giving my body that time that it needs.
Exactly. I think sometimes we think rest simply means doing nothing, but rest is an intentional activity.
Correct. Yeah.
I love it. Now, since you've been through the course 2 different times, you've had 2 different coaches, and you and I have talked about each coach was perfect for each season, right? You worked with Dr. Robin Pfaff and you worked with Deb Thompson, right?
Yes.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about working with your coaches and why two different coaches with two different styles worked for you.
Like you said, it's like what I needed at the time. With Dr. Robin, it was like I needed to learn how to give myself grace, how to give myself self compassion, really, how to start loving myself for where I was at the time with my health or with my life. And I think that really has helped me go through this whole process these last couple of years, really learning how to love myself and not feel guilty, not put myself down because I can't get things done like how I wanted to do it before fibro. So I have to kind of look at it in a different lens, in a different context, because to be honest, I won't ever be able to go back like pre-fibro, pre-children. It's an illusion, I think, to kind of strive to those times when I was younger. Naturally, bodies change. So you kind of have to change with it. So that's one of the first things that I learned with Dr. Robin. And I think that's what helped me get through the first time and just learn everything that I could about fibro.
And then the second time,
my friend Deb from New Zealand, I love
now you
her.
and Deb actually went through the advisor class together the first time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. She went through the coaching program right after that. But with Deb, I have like a connection with her because we're both the same. We're both perfectionists. Some people would think that, well, if we're both the same, how is it going to work? Like you wouldn't think it would work, but it worked for us because I see Deb as a reflection of where I want to be. So I'm where I'm at, and I can see like a few steps forward. If me taking action, I can be where she's at in her journey. So that's kind of how I see it, even though we're both the same as far as having to-do lists. Her being a teacher, and I think I have that like teacher in me too. So that's how we really connected. And I love Deb.
And I think too, perfectionist, she knows your tricks, right? Like,
Yeah, she kind of keeps me on my toes.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. She's not going to let you get away with stuff.
No. In the nicest way.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. We love you, Deb. You know
Yeah.
that. So, one of the homework assignments that I give in the advisor class is creating your book of me, which is really just a way of writing down and keeping track of all the things that your body is telling you that you need. And so you have done something super fun with that. And I would love for you to share about that and how it's helped you get the clarity on what you actually need and don't need.
Well, this time around, I actually got a physical planner, the perfectionist in me, with tabs and paper. Because the first time around, I had it like in a Word document, but then I didn't see it. It wasn't always visible. So this time I was like, let me get a planner. I can organize it the way I want to keep track of the things that I need to keep track on. So this, I think, really helped a lot because I saw it at my desk when I would come downstairs in the morning. I would write down immediately, how did I sleep? Was it comfortable? Did I have any issues? How I'm feeling when I woke up? Things like that. And then I can kind of track, it wasn't like very specific all the time, but it kind of gave me an idea of, okay, this week I overdid it. What did I do? Or I have pain. Why do I have pain? What was I doing a few days ago?
Because you wrote it down, you could go look.
And sometimes it's not immediate because, like, for example, I can vacuum one day and I'm perfectly fine. The next time I vacuum, it aggravates something in my body. So it's just kind of like almost like a checks and balances for me.
Hmm. I love that. I love that. And that's really like the purpose of the whole assignment. It is so easy for us to forget the things that our body is telling us. One of my favorite things with the book of me is a client wrote down all in caps, never, ever, ever eat Cheetos again with like
Yeah.
3 exclamation points. And I think it's such a good example of how often we forget and we keep doing things and then we keep realizing, oh, no, I need to not do that.
Right. Yeah. And I think this time I was very intentional about it. It was like I was really starting to be more aware, not necessarily mindful, but more aware of how my body was reacting or how my body was from day to day. If I took too many steps that day, okay, I need to take it easy, the following day. Because you never know. It's so unpredictable. It's a 50-50 chance, you never know.
And by getting it out of your head and on paper, I think it makes it a whole lot easier to see patterns so that you can start to know if something's going to be good or bad for you, right?
Right, right.
Yeah, I love it. Now, you, as we've talked about, are going to be going into our coach training program. And I would love for you to talk about why you decided to do that this time around and a little bit about who you hope to help.
I got all the education, I got the bachelor's and I have other certifications. And it was never intended to be like for me to coach anybody. It was me really more educating myself so that I can help myself. That was like the main thing for me. But these last couple of years is like poking at me. It's like, you need to do this, you need to do this. And this time around, when I went through the program, it's because this past year I had so much fatigue, but now coming through it again for the second time, it's like, no, I need to do this. I need to help other women, specifically other women veterans like myself. The reason why is because when I was through my health journey, I kind of felt I wasn't getting the support I needed through the healthcare system, with the medical team. Like I was diagnosed in 2017. I wasn't put on fibromyalgia medication until last year. So
Oh,
that's
wow.
like 3, 4, 7 years almost.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it took that long for somebody to say, hey, maybe you should try this, So I kind of had to start looking for myself, advocating for myself. So I want to be that advocate for other women veterans to educate them so that they can empower themselves to advocate for themselves too in the healthcare system, whether they're using the VA or outside in the community. There's so many resources out there. We don't even know how many resources are out there. So, we just got to try, pick one, see if it works. If it doesn't, move on to the next one until we find something that works for us because we're all individuals.
Exactly, exactly. And you and I have also talked about the VA, not to pick on the VA, but sometimes, and this is true actually for regular insurance, sometimes you have to know how to play the game to get the help that you need, right? And for you to actually have gone through that yourself with the VA, you've kind of learned how to play the game their way, right?
And talking about that, it kind of surprised me because I've been trying to get a thyroid panel done through the normal. My provider, rheumatologist, couldn't get that done. I had an appointment with a dermatologist, and we were going through my medical history. And I mentioned something about the thyroid panel. I'm not even sure exactly what I said. And then she says, oh, yeah, we can put that in for you. It's like, really? Oh my gosh. Yes,
Your
please.
dermatologist.
My dermatologist. It's like, who would have thought?
Right, right. But again, just knowing how to play the game so that you can get what you need is such a valuable thing, And I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but I would guess that the incidence of fibromyalgia is higher in the veteran population.
You know what? I haven't tried. I'm going to have to look into that. I know being a Gulf War veteran, the Gulf War illness, there's a lot of, chronic issues, GI issues, nerve pain, fibromyalgia. But as you know, the numbers may be higher for women than for men just because men don't really talk about it or they don't go to the doctor for those type of things. So I will have to actually look into that and do that research myself.
Knowing that fibromyalgia is often triggered by trauma, and whether we're talking mental trauma or just physical trauma, like there's a lot of stuff that you go through, right? Physically, you're hard on your bodies. And so it would make sense to me if that was higher. So we gotta help our veterans. So I'm glad you're doing that.
Yeah, thank you.
So you started the advisor class this time around with a score of 51, and you ended with a score of 8. That's a single digit 8.
Yay.
That is amazing. That is an 84% improvement. And if we go back to like the very first time you took the class, you actually started a little bit higher. And so it's actually an 85% improvement since, the very, very beginning. So I would love for you to share because that's a lot.
Surprised me when you told me that earlier.
Yes. Yes. We gone from 51 is in the moderate range, but it's at the high end, right? And 8 is like almost nothing. So, what have you done? What has helped you the most to help you improve that much?
This time, really, like I said before, is being intentional with everything that I'm doing. This time around, I really took my time digesting the information. Even though I knew all the information, I felt like I wasn't applying it all. So I tried different things this time around than the first time. And I think the things that I tried this time were actually helping me. It's like, why didn't I do this the first time? But I'm like, I'm just want to get through the pain. I want to like try to feel better. So that's what I was focused on the first time. This time around, I was really focused on the fatigue because that was higher for me. But I think just being intentional, taking those small steps, they didn't have to be like large goals. It's just, what can I do today? What can I do with what I have? Just like my motto, to help me take that one step today. Just focus on day by day.
Yes, yes, I love that so much. That was sort of my motto too when I was first diagnosed and trying to get better was, if I do what I need to do today, tomorrow will be a little bit better. And you string enough of those along, you can get a lot better, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I think the other thing that helped me too is asking for help, just like around the house. I have two kids, well, two young adults home living with me now. The other two are out of the house, but making sure that it's like, hey, mom's not feeling well today. I'm not going to cook dinner. You guys are on your own. Or just saying, hey, I need you to do this for me. And they'll do it. So I think that as well has helped me too this time around. They'll recognize it more so now than before, whether maybe the mood that I'm in, if I'm overwhelmed, they can hear it in my voice, things like that. So having somebody else kind of be aware as well has helped me too.
Right, right. And I'm sure a lot of that awareness on their part came from you just talking about it more, being more open about what you're going through and how you're feeling.
Instead of keeping inside. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I think that's the other thing that's helped too. Is not having it all bottled up and that feeling of guilt or of shame. And it's like we don't have to be ashamed with what we have. We've been diagnosed with fibromyalgia or chronic fatigue or any other things, but it shouldn't control our lives. We should control the diagnosis.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. So, as we wrap up, Clara, I would love for you to just talk to the other people out there who are like you, who maybe haven't made this step yet, whether it's veterans or busy moms or perfectionists. What would you like them to know?
First, that you're not alone. There is a community out there for you, whether it's our community or if you find somebody or another community or support in your local area. There are resources out there. It's just a matter of doing a little bit of research and finding it and just taking it one baby step at a time. We can't overload ourselves with things. We just have to be patient because this is something new for us that is unknown that we kind of have to go through. Just like, when you're first driving a car, you don't know how it feels until you practice. You practice, practice, practice until you get better.
And eventually we do it even without thinking. But at first, you're thinking about every little movement.
Sometimes literally every little movement.
Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. All right. Well, thank you so much for sharing your story, Clara, and congratulations on graduation. I cannot wait to have you coaching.
Oh, me neither. I'm looking forward to it. I'm really excited about it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And for you listening, Clara will be in a place to start taking on some new clients in just a couple of months. So be watching that. If she feels like your person, you'll find that on our Find a Coach page. She should be up there in a couple of months. All right. Next up, we are going north a little bit from Florida to Georgia, and we are going to talk to Kim. Congratulations, Kim.
Thank you.
It's so awesome. You first showed up 2.5 years ago, and we're not in a good place. Like most people aren't when they come to me. And it's been so much fun to watch how that has changed for you. It's just watching you blossom, I mean, it's sort of a tired analogy perhaps, but that's what it feels like, right? Like your life is opening up and you're opening up. It's just been so awesome to watch.
Well, it's been awesome to do, right? Like, it's been quite the journey.
Yes, yes. You and I did your final interview here just not that long ago. And one of the things that you said was that the biggest gift in doing this course, especially as long as you did, right? Not just the advisor course, but going on to the coach class too, was just feeling better. And that working with clients and helping them is really just the icing on the cake. And can you talk about that just a little?
When I first reached out to you 2.5 years ago, I knew I needed help. Like something really had to change, and what I had been doing was not working. So we talked about coaching. We talked about the advisor course. We talked about the coaching program. And when I made the decision, I was really in between. Do I just do the advisor course? Because I knew I would feel better if I did that. I just knew it. Or do I go ahead and commit to the coaching program as well? And I remember as my husband and I were talking it over, and he said, even if you never coach someone, if you feel better, it will be worth it. So now I can sit here at the end of that, like, right, you're in the beginning and you don't have a crystal ball and you don't quite know what's going to happen. And quite honestly, you've tried lots of other things before and had hope, and it would be dashed. So now to be sitting here 2.5 years later and say, that was the right call. Because even if it was just for my own health, the investment was 100% worth it. But now the joy of getting to go and be that lighthouse for others and kind of hold that hope for them, it's a great gig. It's just the best. I love coaching.
Yes, yes. You and I could talk all day about that. It is such a joy, but it's also part of, I think, what keeps us on the straight and narrow too. As we coach our clients, we coach ourselves.
100%.
Oh, goodness. Now, this actually was not your first coaching certification. You are a certified health coach, you're a yoga instructor, like you've got a few things. What was different about this for you, and why did you feel like you needed to do this when you already had all that other stuff?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And again, this was the dilemma I was facing when I was trying to figure out my path here, because I did have multiple coaching certifications. The difference, though, here was like you were talking about how many hours we put in, those supervised hours, those 100 hours of, I always just called it case studies, right? Where I get to come and it's not just in the classroom, I'm getting to put it all into practice and then still have a safe place to make sure that everything I'm doing is correct and going forward and just continuing that learning process because, we really learn as we do. And so that was what was different. It wasn't just classroom lectures, classroom hours, doing your homework assignments, and all was well and good. And I learned a lot in those courses, but putting it all into action, it was a very different experience with this certification.
I think it's the exact analogy that Clara used of learning to drive a car, right? You can sit in driver's ed, you can read the books, you can take the little quizzes, you can talk about how you're going to do it, but it's a whole different game when you get behind the wheel and you have to actually drive on the road.
100. And you have people's lives in your hands, right? You are helping people to get better. And you're helping them by working with their healthcare teams. And it's really important. And we need the right information and we need to know how to execute that.
hmm hmm And I think a lot of people who have that little tap on their shoulder about, hey, I think you'd be a good coach. One of the big fears is not having a safety net. You typically aren't going to become a coach and go work for somebody else and, be mentored and all of those things like you might be if you were going to go be an accountant or something. And this gives us the way to do that, which I love personally. So.
Yes, yes. We do not graduate until we are sure that we know what we're doing. We truly know that we can help and we have the confidence to go out there and do it on our own.
It's so funny you mentioned that because just earlier this week in class, one of our students was talking about not feeling confident. My first question was, how many hours do you have? Right? Like that's why it's 100 hours. It changes over time, not just your skills, but also your confidence in your skills and just experiencing all the different possible things that could come your way.
A lot happens in those 100 hours. A
Yes.
lot happens.
Oh, goodness. You and I also talked about a few other differences about this class versus some of the other classes that you've taken, like the business side of things and marketing and some of that kind of stuff. Do you want to share about that?
So with the other certifications, again, I got the knowledge, the head knowledge, but I didn't get the business skills. And so it was like anyone who has a profession and runs their own business, they know that's two very different jobs. Well, this course gave us that, again, there was that safety net, right? I already had an established business going in, but some of my classmates did not. You helped us to know the steps to take to make sure that we were set up legally to protect ourselves and even then how to run our businesses most effectively. So it's a little bit of a funny, a funny line, right? Because you are the office manager but you also are the coach. And most of us come into this because we have the passion for coaching, not quite sure what to do with the business side of things. And so in the past with health coaching, again, I had the passion for it, but I didn't quite know how to market myself, quite honestly. I didn't know how to charge, the right amount. There was just so many questions, and I felt like I was always reinventing the wheel because I knew somebody had already figured this out. I just still had to do it myself. So that is not what this course was, though, at all. You were really helpful for, again, not just helping us to learn how to coach, but how to have that business plan.
And how to do it in a fibro body, I think is another key distinction there.
That energetic business week plan.
Yes, yes. Over the 15 years that I've been doing this, I have seen so many people burn out in a blaze of glory. Right? And I don't want that for my people. I don't want that for you. I want you to be able to do this as long as you want to do this. So we have a lot of conversations about how to not burn out and how to do this in a fibro smart way.
Absolutely. And as someone who had done nonprofit work before and burned my body out, I was hungry for this information because I do love what I do and I want to continue to do it. Right. And there is a temptation when you have a passion for things, when you're an intense person to just go out and want to do it in a big way. And the choices I make today really will ensure that I'm still here this time next year.
And maybe even in 15.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, goodness. So, speaking of, your fibromyalgia impact questionnaire score has been improved by 47%. You started off at 49, which is a little better than average, but still pretty average, and ended at 26, which you and I have talked about the fact that if you had taken that a little bit earlier, it would be a much different score. But even though it's not the score you wanted, it's still awesome.
Thank you for that.
So let's talk about that. Life doesn't always go the way that we want it to, and you can have it all figured out and then not have it figured out. Like life changes, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I do know my fibromyalgia wellness style as a playmaker, as someone who had lived with her world pretty small when it opened back up. I was doing really well with managing my energy budget and doing the things, and really made some different choices the last couple of months. Was still doing okay, but was really close to that guardrail. And then an unexpected health crisis with a family member happened, and I didn't have the reserves for that. And it just sort of pushed me over into a bit of a flare. But I have to say that, this was the first flare I had really had since maybe the beginning of my advisor course or so. So to be able to say that, what was that, almost 2 years ago or a year and a half ago? I know that my score would have been better had I taken this in December, but I'm glad that it happened this way because there's a lesson to be learned here. I need to go forward with more margin because there are some things that you just don't expect to happen. And, you want to have your feet well planted when they do.
Exactly. You can plan and plan and plan, but something's going to happen. You can't plan for everything. And so, like you said, having that margin is important. And also, I just want to go back to something. You're talking about having a flare. Your score is 26. Are we saying 26 is a flare, Kim?
It is now. It is now. Isn't that incredible?
That's amazing.
Isn't that incredible? It was so funny because in December, we took an opportunity to foster a dog over the Christmas holidays. And this dog shed like a dead Christmas tree. Like it was just hair everywhere. And I had not been vacuuming. I can't remember the last time I had vacuumed because I just had it in my head like, I don't vacuum, it hurts. But that's not a good movement for me. But because of the amount of dog hair and because of this allergy I have, I was vacuuming every day. But anyways, the first time I went to vacuum and my husband was like, wait, what are you doing? And I was like, I don't know. I just think I can do this. And it was
Uh-huh.
like all of a sudden listen, that may sound like some people are like, what were you doing? If nobody thinks you should vacuum, I just don't vacuum. But it was such a big deal. And then I realized, some of the questions on the fibromyalgia impact questionnaire score, like making the bed, things I hadn't been doing, I could do again. I could do again. It was just an incredible feeling to know that I'm carrying my weight around, right? I am actually being a part of all of the household chores again. So it was a big deal.
Yes, yes, it is. That's awesome. So, over the last couple of years, what do you feel like has helped you the most?
There just is not one thing, right? It is such a shotgun approach. And so, from everything from that careful planning of the energy budget to changing my sleep habits, changing my healthcare team, addressing some hormonal issues, low dose naltrexone, there's just so much there. And I've just recently discovered myofascial release therapy done by the John Barnes method. And it's just so exciting to keep finding new things that tweak it. Like you said, for me to be flaring and be in the 20s now, that is because of all of those things that are in place, right? So I know that I'm just going to continue to feel better and better because we're just going to keep adding on things that I'm going to learn in the Alumni Association, right? And just that I have learned here. It's very exciting. So there's not just one thing.
Yes, yes. And now, of course, you're graduating as a coach and you've been working with clients for a while now. So tell us a little bit about your clients. Who do you work with? And can you share maybe a brief client story?
Yeah, sure. So, who I work with, I have worked with women from the age of 19 to in their late 60s. My ideal client is usually someone a lot like me, Gen Xer. If you are perimenopause, postmenopause, but specifically if you want to make these lifestyle changes rather than searching for a more pharmaceutical approach, that's really my ideal client. I really especially love working in areas around making connections between what we're eating, how we're moving, how we're sleeping, and how we're feeling. And so all of those are the stories that come up for me usually with my clients. So I've been able to help. One of the greatest gifts I think I've gotten back was being able to help someone who identified herself as a lifelong insomniac to now getting regular, deep, good sleep nightly around sleep issues. Again, I had another client who had no idea until we began to work together. And some education and some things came out. She had severe sleep apnea after some testing I had urged her to do. And just kind of knowing that right there, knowing the statistics on untreated sleep apnea, and just knowing that how much I helped her, it was so rewarding. If those are the only things I've been able to do, it's been worth it because it's giving them back their lives, right? It's not just my life that's getting bigger. It's getting to help them open back up their lives. So I just love working with women with strong personalities too.
Yes. Yes. Kim is one of those people. If you are somebody who feels like people think you're too much, Kim can take that. Not everybody can. Not everybody can. And those of us who do have strong personalities, we kind of know. And we also know that it's like you got to find the right person.
Yeah, women with strong personalities, that's such an asset to have a strong personality. It's such a beautiful thing. But I love it when it comes up in coaching. I think that I'm just wired to be able to handle that and to help them to see things sometimes from a different perspective because I don't back down from that big personality. I think that's what those of us with big personalities need, right? Is someone to just maybe sometimes be bold back with us.
That's right. That's right. Kim is also a playmaker. So if you need a little bit of play in your life, she is a good coach for that too.
Yes, yes. I will make a game out of anything we are doing.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, Kim, just thinking about those strong Gen X perimenopausal women, is there anything that you want to say to them? Is there anything you want them to know if they're out there listening?
Yes, if you're out there listening. So, first of all, you probably have been doing this just on your own. You're just carrying this on your own, and you feel like you have to just kind of keep going and maybe making your own path here. And let me just encourage you that there is a way to do this with some help, with some guidance. And, Gen Xers, we get things done, right? But sometimes it takes asking for someone to kind of come alongside you and be with you on that journey. Two is really greater than one on this journey. We get to help each other sort of navigate a little bit better. And if you have someone who's already been down this path and who's been on this journey for a while, you can be vulnerable with me because I get it. I get it. And I also get the desire to want to get past this, right? And there's no shame in saying that you have fibromyalgia. It's not a weakness, right? It actually, in so many ways, we can work together to get your life back.
I agree. Congratulations again, Kim. Like I said, it's been such a pleasure to have you. I'm going to miss you and seeing you in class every week.
I am not okay with not coming to class on Thursdays. I still know the Zoom number. I might have to.
Oh, too
Thank
funny.
you, though,
Too
Tami.
funny.
Thank you.
Oh, you are so welcome. You're so welcome. All right. Well, let's go on to meet Victoria. Now, Victoria, when you and I met, you were in Canada, but you are no longer in Canada. Where are you today?
So now I'm living in Turkey. Because of my fibro, we decided to live for a while, and it's really helped me to improve my health because Canadian climate is not about me.
Especially this time of year. It's very, very cold.
Yes, so this is also about food and a lot of sun. So this is about this.
I love it. I love it. Now, I would love for you, just because you do have a bit of an interesting story, I would love for you to just share a little bit about your journey and how you got here.
Okay, so as my fiber story is the same as others, as I didn't know this word, and I remember me as almost as long as I can remember. But I got my PTSD in 2012, and actually this provoked my fibro pain, and I didn't understand. At that time, I was in Ukraine, and I immigrated to Canada in 2014. So I wasn't feel very good, but still was okay. Then 2015, when I got married, I felt severe pain. So I made so many mistakes. I just got married. This is trip schedule, everything, this mess, different country, different food, and I felt terrible. So then I was sick of trying to find what happened to me and trying to get my diagnosis in Canada, Ukraine, and Russia. At last, I got my diagnosis in Russia. Then I brought these documents to my doctor, and in 8 months, I was waiting for appointment to rheumatologist in Toronto, and I got my diagnosis and disability. So after disability, I got refund from taxes. Canadian government paid me for these years while I was searching my diagnosis. It's almost took me a few years and 5 years. So 2018, I was fully diagnosed. I decided that I want to spend this money for my education. And I started searching in Canada. It has to be like something like coach, fiber coach, because I did already a great job because I have my psychology degree. Read a lot of books, learning how my nervous system works and doing a lot of things, but I need structure, knowledge. I need to be in this environment, fiber environment. So I found you, Tami, and that was a big step in my fibromyalgia. That's why, like, I started my course in, I don't remember, it was my first time. So about fibro, as I want to tell what things helped me. Yes, these three key factors: the faith in God and a big, great desire to help myself. That's, I think, important because I had my family and I wanted to be a like normal woman and wife, and I was like hardworking person in this. The second, working on myself, psychotherapy, coaching, as I'm doing later, and lifestyle changes. Learning what made me feel good, what made me feel bad, and finding my personal triggers that we were talking about as making about book about myself, but I built this big construction even in my brain. Now I know every step what can provoke my fiber, everything. And of course about reducing toxic people, because a lot of people usually leave us alone in the fiber journey. So that's why we are looking and finding that some friends and sometimes even family members can be not supportive in this difficult situation. So I also went through this in my life. And actually, as I said about PTSD and very important things as mental support us about stress management, yes, but we usually can hear about avoid stress, but is it really possible? For example, how could I avoid stress as war in Ukraine or something is happened, so stress around us all the time in our life? So as I'm saying, the stress is about being adaptive, about being flexible and facing difficult situation, seeking the best possible solution. And it's also about setting priorities in our life. The very important, it's about self-compassion and really and self-care. I think, as everybody says, is a key for fibro. Healthy lifestyle. That's about no gluten. As I used to be on keto diet for 2 years, it was a little bit earlier. Now I'm just low carb diet. No sugar, no junk food, no smoking, no alcohol. That's like a healthy, nice, and beautiful life. A proper sleep routine, medicine, supplements, comfort footwear. Even if you want to look great, you can find everything that will be really comfortable and make your in-house. You can make comfortable life, beautiful and quality life. This is about what actually fibro also. It looks like a little bit a gift. If you change, that's not so bad if we are trying to change our life and to do it nice. And actually, I love all this about fibromyalgia and education and knowledge about fibromyalgia. So the more you know, the more you can help yourself, advocate, talking to doctors, finding your own small things that can help. And even now, I'm like a certified coach, but I know that I want to learn more. I know that it is so many things that I can still find and still improve my life. So fibromyalgia teach us responsibility about ourselves. Again, to go to let go perfectionism and unrealistic expectation and embrace small victories. We have all choice as fibromyalgia is turn like break us or turn us to the from the sour lemon or to the lemonade. And actually fibromyalgia changed me a lot, even as personality, and made me even better. That's strange, but that is really about this. So I worked with Michelle Burton as coach and Dr. Robin Pfaff. And Michelle is also helped me improving my English and fibromyalgia. Also because we spoke a lot of about fibro. And we worked on adaptive life to the fibromyalgia. So was about this, and Dr. Robin focused on how to live and work and achieve real goals with fibromyalgia. She was like saying some few words, was very supportive to me to achieve this goal as to reach this certification. So from this last 2 years, 2023, I had 17 flights, visited a few countries. 2024, while I was doing coaching program, I visited 6 countries. Was not about just trip or having fun. This was like with my husband, business trip. Actually, these trips taking a lot of energy and creative things. So was about all these nice things. Of course, I had some nice days in the trips, but it is a job, like or work to go. And also 2024 70 flights. So my life is really active. Last week I was in Istanbul, and I was like a little bit afraid. I went with my friends, girls, and I was all saying to my husband if I will be okay. And they said, "You said you are so fibro, like you have some issues with health, but you are the same as we are." Because I was really taking care about myself. I know how to rest during trips, how to eat, yes, about like protein. And so about what did the Fibromyalgia Institute give me? Especially one important thing, of course, it's about, I told you, Tami, that I want to tell and about like, especially our team is about very loving person. As my coaches, Michelle and Robin, this is not only about expertise. This is about people who have a lot of life, love, a lot of support, and even though they have their own challenges in their life, they are trying to help others, and we all have this lack of communication and feeling so alone. And when we are in community with fibro people, not about complaining, as for me it's very important, about supporting, about finding the small things which can really change your life. And this is for me was really, and actually that helps even for our mental health, just to be in a healthy environment. For me it was very important. So fibromyalgia, as I will tell you, teach us the important things about self-care and treating ourselves with kindness. If we don't do this self-compassion, self-care, self-kindness, we won't go to doctors, finding a specialist, to go and do massage, eating healthy food. Like first, we should to decide if I really want to help myself, if I really want to see this woman like better, to help, then you will come in the evening to your kitchen, take your supplements, cook proper food, as finding good nutrition food like organic or something else that you need. For example, as I'm very sensitive for food, so this is about this, and only mindful and caring approach can make difference. That's why self-care is a foundation of living with fibromyalgia. That's my approach. That's my view on fibromyalgia. And that's really changed me, because I was that woman of perfectionism, pushing, achieve goals, high expectation. That was about this. And when you stop, when you find in your way, you even can do more than others people. Last year, I found in coaching with Robin what I did, my list, and I found that a lot of healthy people didn't do this really in their life. Like, wow. Sometimes because I have this a little bit very active life, a few years, that's like, it's a little bit, of course, not only about relax, it's about management, it's about structure of your life, it's about thinking what can you do for yourself to have this effective and a nice life. And actually I love to work with people. That's maybe what I wanted to say.
Yes, yes, I agree with you so much. There are so many gifts that fibromyalgia can give us if we are open to receiving them. It comes with challenges for sure, but sometimes those challenges are what give us the gifts. So I think that's great. So, what would you say was the difference for you? Now, you mentioned the war in Ukraine. Victoria was almost done with her coach certification when the war broke out and she had to take a leave of absence. So, what was the second time like for you? How was that different?
I little bit regret that I quit 1 month before I did everything, did
You
hours
were
and
so close.
yes, and I just say no, it's too much. It's like moving another country, and in Ukraine I had my family and friends, so it was really difficult times, and so I quit this program because of I decided if you are talking about self-care, do it to yourself. But really, when I came back to the program again, when I had a little bit more time, like setting on one place, it was like I still did my coaching all the time by myself, and for Russian speaking people, but I got like more confident. I got more desire to get more knowledges. I had so much experience, and in the way I had so much question and about not like burn out or to do more than you can. This is also was about me this last year because yes, I'm doing a lot. Okay, I'm doing very much, doing a lot of coaching hours. Is it really I can do or just pushing? I found that I found my realistic time for doing my coaches hours, and now I found my schedule absolutely perfect for myself. I read my schedule and goals when I was with Robin, and too much again, too much again, and I changed it, and I absolutely happy about even money profit, and that was okay. As for fiber person to have this, it's about also to be more confident, and actually, it's also about last year, I understand that yes, I have a lot of knowledges, but how important to be with a client as a loving person, supportive person. That's what about coaching. That's what about this team, about this people, and that is, I think, the most important in coaching. You can know a lot of about supplements, but you should understand. And fiber story is very, very unique to every person. And of course, it is like you need a lot of empathy and a lot of thoughts, even between calls, thinking, what do you need? What can you do for these people? Some of them are very in severe fibro. So it's like step by step. And you mentioned about cognitive behavior therapy, and in Russian speaking, like colleagues, psychotherapists are pushing this, but it's, yeah, no, that's not as much as coaching. As if you ask me what will help you, yes, counseling or psychotherapy, this is about just managing, trying to accept maybe your illness, your own way to live. But to find how to live, it's about coaching. That's what I want.
Yes. Yes, counseling, cognitive behavioral therapy, those kinds of things are great. And they can really help you learn how to cope with your diagnosis, how you feel about having the diagnosis, the emotions and things you might be experiencing being in chronic pain. But that's not about how do you actually get better, right? That's just about helping you feel better about having fibromyalgia. We want you to feel better, period.
Even when you are working with your psychotherapist or counseling or doctor, you have to know your personal things. For example, we have so nice, not too much pushing, so okay for attitude. And if I'm working, say, no, 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 this is too much for me. Then this is I cannot accept because my brain is accepting that this is like danger. So no, no, no. That's also about this. That's only coach will explain you. It's like I have some consultation when I'm like explaining what happened in your brain and your nervous system and your in your neuron chains. So this is what about this. It's about like education even. You need to know how your bodies work. So that's what about coaching. So many things you have to know. But for example, I love studying. I love my work and I love people. This is about me. Even sometimes I feel tired, but this is not about fibra exhaustion. This is about like when you did your job good, you feel tiredness in the evening, but you feel happy, still happy about this.
Yes, that'll be me today. When we get done with this, that will be me.
Yes, that's about me because this is second time, yes, when an coaching program, and of course for me it's very important. I have spent 3 years, if we will tell, of getting this certification that people can do a year and a half, a little bit. I don't know how much it takes, but for me, but like I need to do this.
Mhm. Yep. Yep. I love it. I love it. Now, Victoria is graduating as our very first Russian speaking coach. And I will tell you, Victoria, I hadn't really thought about the differences just in resources for people who don't speak English, right? Like the books that aren't translated into English and podcasts, YouTube videos. Like I'm clearly not doing mine in Russian. I don't speak Russian, but working with you has really helped me see the discrepancy there. And I am so pleased to have you as a coach and to be out there helping those people that I can't help. So, congratulations.
So many people, so many countries are Russian speaking, but they don't really know English. And I said that I'm only one person who developed this bridge between this Russian audience and Institute of Coaches Fibromyalgia. And that's really important. And so this is like even not about, it's also about my mission, who I am. This is like my responsibility to share my information and to talk. And so many people now are trying to, even this last month, I opened my YouTube channel and people said, oh, I understand, that's happened to my daughter, my husband. They just like, oh, thank you. Just understand what happened to you. Oh, that's very important for me. Yes. Thank you, Tami.
Congratulations on all of that. And, for you listening, if you know anybody who struggles with English, I mean, we've got Victoria here who speaks Russian, Clara speaks Spanish, and, we are actively looking for coaches in other countries who speak other languages. It's my dream that all fibromyalgia patients will be able to find somebody that can help them, that understands their language, their culture, their life situations. So, yes, thank you for that, Victoria. And that wraps up my interviews with Clara, Kim, and Victoria from our Stories of Hope and Healing graduation event. Now, after hearing these stories, you might be wondering, can I do that too? Could I feel better too? Could I improve that much? And I've hoped that you've realized that our stories, they're all the same, but at the same time, we're all different and we're all unique. So I do believe that every single one of us, me included, can find ways to feel even just a little bit better. All of us. If your score isn't 0, there's still room to improve. That said, how much you improve depends on so many things. It depends on your resources, what other diagnoses you have, how long you've been sick. There's just a lot of factors there. And so, obviously, you and I need to have a conversation before I can really answer that question for you. And that's why we offer our consultations. If you'd like to sit down with a certified fibromyalgia coach and really talk through your situation and see how maybe you can improve, then we would love to have that conversation with you. To schedule a consultation with a certified fibromyalgia coach or a student coach in training like Clara, then just go to our show notes today. It's fibromyalgiapodcast.com/154. And we will have all the links there where you can schedule with any of our coaches. We'll also have links in the show notes to where you can download some free resources. You can get things like my books for free. You can take our free fibromyalgia Fibromyalgia Wellness Style quiz and get a free series of emails with tips on how to help you manage your fibromyalgia based on your wellness style. And of course, you are also welcome to take our classes. The class that all three of these ladies have taken is our Certified Fibromyalgia Advisor class, and all three are taking or have finished taking our Certified Fibromyalgia Coach class. Graduates of our advisor class, on average, do improve by about 50% in just 90 days. Our graduates of our coach class, as you could tell, talking to Kim and Victoria, are nearly symptom-free. They just have a little bit of symptoms and they're almost symptom-free. So if you are interested in that for yourself, or if you're interested in helping other people with that, we are enrolling for our next class. You can find that information again on today's show notes. It's fibromyalgiapodcast.com/154. Or to get information on the class, you can just go to beafibrocoach.com. That's B, the word B-E, afibrocoach.com. We also have our Be a Coach special podcast series that you can look for right here in your podcast app. See you back here next time. And that wraps up another episode of the Fibromyalgia Podcast. I'm your coach, Tami Stackelhaus. For daily doses of hope, inspiration, and practical advice, come hang out with me on Facebook. Visit facebook.com/fibrocoach to find my personal coaching page and connect with me directly. To find the show notes, additional resources, or to schedule a consultation with me or one of my coaches, visit fibromyalgiapodcast.com.